Yeah, guys. So in yesterday's class, what we discussed about the so how you can create the Terraform stack, guys. How you can create the Terraform stack. So what is a stack? A stack is nothing but a so Terraform stack for building infrastructure on AWS is a common and powerful approach managing the cloud resources as a code, guys. As a code. So how we can do it? We can provision the VPCs, EC2 instances, security groups, and S3, whatever the services we have, right? We can create the services by using Terraform. By using Terraform. So Terraform AWS infra stack, for example, Dev Stack, QA Stack, Prod Stack. The stack, the directory structure should be something like what this is. This is a Terraform AWS stack or AWS stack. So this is the directory structure, guys. So in the directory structure, right? So these all are the files, guys. So what this file is main file, this file is provider file, this file is versions files, this file is variables files, and this file is output file. For example, if you want to write the something like uh, what we need to write it in the output, for example, instance instance id. So instance id, public IP, you want to write it in the outputs.tf, you can write it in the outputs.tf. Guys, now you understood the Terraform stack should be Terraform dev AWS stack. You can write whatever you want, guys. Okay, what is that? Yes. So for example, the stack should be, so for example, this is the stack. What this stack contains? This contains main.tf. This contains, guys, tell me, this contains what stack contains? You guys are able to hear?
Yeah, provider.tf version 1.
Mm, yeah, provider.tf, main.tf, variables.tf, outputs.tf, provider.tf, and versions.tf. This should be like main.tf, variables.tf, provider.tf, versions.tf, provider version, output.tf. Right. So while running, so while installing the Terraform in a Terraform apply, so a state file will be created. What is that? Terraform dot tf state. What is this? So based on this TS, so based on this variables, it will create the infra, right? The infra will be created under the Terraform state. The infra will be created under the Terraform. What is that? The infra will be created under the Terraform state. So in the Terraform state, Satish, you asked a question, right?
Yes, bro.
Satish?
Yeah, bro. Listening.
Yeah, what you asked or something like the same guys. For example, yeah, you three of them are working on the same stack. Which stack this is? This is a Terraform Dev Stack. So who are working on this? Who are working on this talk? So in the Terraform state, it will provide the instance ID, private IP, private IP, whatever we are doing in, we are seeing it that details, right? While creating after creating the distance. So everything will be write it in the Terraform state file, guys. Everything will be write it in the Terraform state file. So for example, these three are working on the same stack. These three are working in the same stack. For example, Magna is working on the same stack. Satish is working on the same stack. Siri is working on the same stack. And Pradeep, these all are working on the same stack, guys. Right? So this stack is in the repository. Where this is? This is in the repository. This stack is in the GitHub repository. Okay. So whatever the code, so we have a local repository also, right? So the same, they both are having all the people are having the same repository, local repository. So in the local repository also having same file structure, main.tf, variables.tf, providers.tf, versions.tf, and outputs.tf, and Terraform state.tf. Right. So what you are building? You are building the AWS infra. Guys, what you are building? You are building the AWS infra, something like EC2 instance. So EC2 instance, right? So how you authenticate? How will you authenticate with the AWS guys? We will authenticate with AWS through guys. How you are authenticating with your AWS account? AWS?
IA master and access key.
Yes, very good. Yeah, you guys are having different security key and access key. Same security key and access key or a different security key and access key. Okay, secret key and access key. Yeah. So you have that Terraform state, guys. Mostly in the real-time environment, the Terraform state file will be copied in the remote location. Remote location S3 bucket. Most of the people are writing it in the S3 bucket only. They copy it in the S3 bucket only. S3 bucket only. Okay. So whenever you copy this, right? So for example, you have a doubt, Satish. What is the doubt? So for example, you are running the Terraform plan or Terraform init. So the other people will get the Terraform log. How? Based on the Terraform state. Based on the Terraform state, you all are having the same Terraform state, and you are trying to add another EC2 instance, another EC2 instance. But this stack based on the Terraform state and the other stack, so someone is creating. Based on this stack, the lock will be created. Understood, Satish?
Yes, bro. Yeah.
So what is Terraform state file? Terraform state file is a JSON file. I will show you. What this? A Terraform tf.state file is created. Terraform state file is created. So in that state file, so right, so nowadays it will creating the backup. So whatever the backup, so this Terraform state backup or Terraform state file will be copied under the S3 bucket because based on this only we can, if something goes wrong, if your infra is deleted, the infra is destroyed or someone accidentally deleted the infra. Based on this Terraform state, we can build easily. If you click again Terraform state, it will automatically, based on the Terraform state, it will create the same infra. It will create the same infra. Understood, guys? So which file it is a? Say JSON file. Terraform state is the JSON file. So what user to do? You can track the resource IDs, store the dependencies, track attributes like IPs, that storage, volume, IP addresses, subnets, the instance IDs, and it will be comparing the current versus desired state. So what is the current state? The current state is, so we have created the one EC2 instance. This is the one EC2, this is the current state and the desired state. Okay. Yeah. Guys, shall I give you a task for you? Guys, shall I give you task? So you understood, providers. I will tell you, Satish, you joined right today. Meghna and Satish. Hello.
Yes, bro. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I think Siri, Pradeep, they are understood what is Terraform, right? A Terraform stack. For example, this is your Terraform stack. In the Terraform stack, you created the main. So main is nothing but the resources AWS underscore instance web. Here, I don't want to add the AMI. I want to get the AMI from the variable. So variables means, so the values will be declared in the variable.tf. The values will be declared in the variable.tf. So in the main, I don't want to add the variables, add the values. I want to get the values from the variables.tf. Here you see AMI. I am not specifying the AMI. So I just added the var.ami underscore id. So what is that? AMI underscore is var is nothing but a variable information. It will look into the variables. So var.ami id. So where it declared AMI id? Yeah, variable AMI id is declared. What is the AMI id? So the function should be variable name, variable, variable name, description. Description is optional, guys. If you want to write, you can write it, or else you can leave it. So the otherwise default. So default equal to, you need to provide the ID of the AMI. Value default equal to value. Okay. So variable underscore instance type. So default equal to T2 micro. Variable underscore region. So description, AWS region, default equal to US East 1. Default equal to episode 1. Right. Name. So variable equal to name, description, tag. Default equal to Terraform 1. Guys, you understood? So variables will be declared here. So today I will create another file and I will tell you guys. Versions.tf. What is versions? Version is nothing but a Terraform and the required providers. So the required providers. So what is the documentation for the Terraform, guys? Registry.terraform.io. registry.terraform.io is the official documentation for the Terraform, guys. Yeah, browse provider. In the provider, AWS, right? So if you want to launch the instance in the Azure, guys, use the provider. What is the provider? So provider is Azure RM. So what is the provider for AWS, guys? What is the provider? Provider equal to AWS. Provider equal to what is the provider, guys? Provider equal to AWS. So if you want to launch Azure, provider equal to Azure RM. Provider equal to Azure. So you see here provider equal to Azure RM. For example, you want to launch a AWS instance, provider equal to AWS. So if you want to launch of Google Cloud, so what is the provider, guys? The provider equal to Google. Provider equal to Google. And Terraform version. So what is the Terraform version, guys? So the Terraform version is 1.5.7, 1.11.6 we installed. So Terraform 12 and Terraform 13. The Terraform starts from 11, 12, 13, 14, and 1.0. So Terraform 0.2, 13 onwards, we use this. We use the provider block. We use the our provider block or a versions block here. Okay. So the provider is Google. If you want to use the Google, if you want to launch the instance in the Google, or if you want to launch the instance in the Kubernetes, use the provider. What is the provider? Provider is Kubernetes. Provider is Kubernetes. Oracle Cloud. What is the provider for the Oracle Cloud? OCI is the provider. Now you guys understood, right? So use the provider. What is the provider? Provider equal to AWS, AWS provider. So what is the provider here? The provider equal to AWS. What is versions? So version is nothing but a. So if you are connecting with AWS, right? Every cloud provider having their own plugin for installing for installing. So this is the version 5.9.0 AWS plugin to communicate with from Terraform to AWS cloud. So right, we need to provide that provider that AWS provider in version, right? So the versions will be declared in the versions.tf. So Terraform required version. So which version we are using Terraform? Terraform we are using 1.0, greater than 1.0. Required providers AWS. Required providers AWS. Source equal to HashiCorp AWS. Version equal to 5.95.0. This is the versions, guys. So this is the version and this is the provider. This is the main block. So in the main block, whatever the resources we are creating, whatever the resource we are creating in the stack, you can provide that resources. Resources should be something like so. What is that? So what is the resources, guys? The resources should like EC2 instance and resource. Yeah, or else we can copy this. This is the web, right? Yeah. So this is the resource block. I'm copying this resource block. Okay. So I want to add the another resource. A resource is nothing but a service. So which resource I want to add here? I want to add here AWS underscore VPC. What is that? VPC. I want to create a VPC. What is the VPC name? My VPC. So I'm creating a my VPC, right? So I'm providing the information. So I'm providing the information. Right. I'm providing the information. So something like what is this? Cider BLOCK. Cider block equal to in the double quotes. So what I want to give the cider block 10.0.0.0 slash 16. So you don't know this, guys. I will tell you, no worries. So what this is? This is I want to create the my VPC. So again, the resource something like, so what is the resource I am creating? I'm creating the resource. The resource is AWS underscore subnet. What is that, guys? AWS underscore subnet. So what is the subnet name? My VPC. I'm creating subnet name also. My VPC. My VPC. Okay. The subnet also, name also my VPC. So here we need to provide the VPC ID. So VPC ID equal to AWS underscore VPC. AWS underscore VPC. So this is AWS underscore VPC. VPC dot my VPC dot ID. What is that? My VPC. So VPC ID. So what is the VPC ID, guys? This is 10.0.0.0 series. So VPC ID dot my ID will take the ID cider block. Cider block equal to, what is this? So this is the cider block, the double quotes. So this is the cider block. So which availability zone we want to create it? Availability underscore zone equal to. So here we are specifying the, we are not specifying the value here. Just I want to get it from the AWS underscore region. AWS underscore region. Okay. Availability A. Okay. Availability zone where data AWS underscore region. US East 1A. US East 1A. It will take US East 1A. For example, you want to create the security group also, or you can create the security group. So you can take the C resource AWS underscore. What is the resource name, guys? Security underscore group. AWS security underscore group. So what is the group name? For example, I want to allow which access, guys? SSH access. Right, I'm taking this. I'm taking this. Yeah. So what we need, name. Name equal to hello SSH. The name of the security group hello SSH. Description. Description equal to hello SSH access. Which one, guys? Hello access SSH access VPC ID equal to AWS underscore VPC. AWS underscore VPC dot ID. This is my VPC ID. Okay. So here, what you need, guys, in the security group? Security group, what you need, guys? You need a ingress. Ingress is nothing but a inbound rules. What is inbound rule, guys? So in the inbound rules, we are allowing, right? In the inbound rules, we are allowing, so from underscore port equal to 22, 22 port, we need to allow two port. From port and two port. Two port equal to 22. From port to two port protocol. Protocol equal to TCP protocol. Okay, protocol equal to TCP and the CIDR blocks. What is the CIDR block? The CIDR block equal to, in the double quotes, will give you the 0.0.0.0/0. Right? So this is the ingress. What this is? This is a ingress, and you want to create a ingress. Ingress is nothing but a inbound rule. So outbound rules. Outbound rule is nothing but we call it as a egress. What is that? Ingress and egress. The same block, right? I'm copying this same. What is this? Ingress, egress. Egress is nothing but a outbound. So from port, so we need to allow everything. 0 to port 0, from port 0. So protocol equal to -1. It will allow everything. All ports and all address. So this is the, guys, what this main contains. Guys, now you understood? So what is the main contains? So a main contains instance here. So what you are trying to create? You are trying to create the instance, and you are trying to create the VPC. Okay. You are trying to create the subnet and the security group. Security group. Guys, understood? So this is nothing but your main stack. And provider stack, now you understood. This is the AWS provider and the variables. So you declared the variables here. Variables you declared here, and the versions you declared, right? Guys, you declared the variables and you declared the versions also. So I already told you, right? Outputs. So you can create the output also. So what is the output? Outputs dot tf. So why we need outputs dot tf? If you want the output, for example, I want a instance ID or I want a public IP. I want to get it the public IP and instance IP while running the Terraform init. So what is that? Output instance ID, right? Instance ID, instance underscore ID, right? The block, it's open. Instant underscore ID, output instant underscore ID value. You need to give the value in the variables default. What is the value declaration? Default here in outputs value equal to AWS underscore instance, AWS underscore instance dot web dot ID. So what is that? My instance name? 1 second, guys. Web one. What is that, guys? Web one, I think. Yeah, web one dot ID. It will get the instance ID in the outputs. You can copy here. So output instance IP. What is that? Instance IP. We need to get the IP, guys. How you can get the IP? A value AWS underscore instance dot web one dot public IP. What is that, guys? Public underscore IP. You will get the public IP. Public underscore IP in the main dot you see. Yeah, guys. Okay. Yeah. So in the Terraform state, so what state we have? So we have only EC2 instance is there, but you added the, but you added the VPC security group and subnets, right? And outputs also, output file also you added, right?
So state file అంటే already existing one. At the existing
ఆల్రెడీ ఎగ్జిస్టింగ్.
resources.
ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ నేను డిలీట్ చేస్తున్నాను. సో ఇది ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేసాక డిలీట్ చేస్తాను.
ఓకే ఓకే.
టెరాఫామ్ స్టేట్ ఫైల్ అంటే సో వాట్ ఎవర్ వి క్రియేటెడ్, సో ఏదైతే క్రియేట్ అయిందో మనకి ఈసీ2 ఇన్స్టెన్స్, మనకి క్లౌడ్ లో ఏదైతే క్రియేట్ అయిందో ఆవిడ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ మొత్తం స్టేట్ ఫైల్ లో పెడుతుంది.
ఓకే ఓకే. అంటే ఒకసారి స్క్రిప్ట్ మన మెయిన్ డాట్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేసిన తర్వాత స్టేట్ ఫైల్ క్రియేట్ అవుతుందా ఫస్ట్ టైం?
అవును, స్టేట్ ఫైల్ క్రియేట్ అవుతుంది. అప్లై అయిన తర్వాత స్టేట్ ఫైల్ క్రియేట్ అవుతుంది.
ఓకే.
టెరాఫామ్. So so we can initialize only one time, guys. Okay. So initialize only one time. Terraform init, Terraform plan, unsupported argument, protocol, main.tf, protocol, protocol. Sorry, what is that? COL, guys. Protocol here. Protocol. What this is? This is for the ingress. Where is the ingress? Yeah, it looks good now. What is this? Unsupported argument, cider block. Is also cider block. Let's see. Is there any mistake in the cider block? Where in the line number 32 and 39. So 32 and 39. CIDR cider block. Sorry, guys. Here cider blocks. AC. Did you mean it will showing the answer also here? Yes, understood. If you do any mistake, so it is showing the answer also here. Okay.
ఎక్కడ చూపించింది ఆన్సర్ అది?
Did you mean cider blocks? Are you able to see my
ఓకే
screen?
ఓకే. యా యా. వెరీ వెరీ షార్ట్. యా.
Hmm.
Did you mean share to block?
Yeah. You guys, so yesterday only one to add, right? Today, so we have a four to add. So what four to add, we can check it. So create, so Terraform plan, Terraform user to select the provider to generate the following execution plan. Resource actions are indicated with the following symbols. Plus is nothing but a create. Yellow is nothing but a modification. Red is nothing but a deletion. So red is nothing but a deletion. You see, guys, this is the red. So yesterday we executed destroy command. So destroyed. So this web one will be destroyed. So this is destroyed. Destroyed is nothing but yeah. So here you see the plan: 0 to add, 0 to change, and 1 to destroy. We are destroying the changes. Okay. And yeah. So LA is nothing but a update. We are updating it. So we are updating here. So 1 to change. So here, yeah, you see this is plus. Plus is nothing but a adding. It's a creating. Creating is nothing but, so we have create a 1 to add. So what we are trying to create? We are trying to create the AWS instance web 1. Okay. So what we provided only AMI ID and instance type. The remaining are the optionals. The remaining are the optionals, right? Here, one to add, one to zero to change, and zero to destroy. So it will be apply completed, resources one added, zero changed, zero destroyed. So now you are trying to change from T2 micro to T2 nano. So what is that? T2 micro to here. So Terraform used it to select providers to generate the following execution plan. Resource actions are indicated with the following symbols. So update in place. So Terraform will be following the actions. So what Terraform AWS underscore instance dot web one will be updating in place. So what we are trying to updating, we are trying to updating from T2 micro to T2 nano. So we are updating the instant, we are changing the instance ID. So in the plan, it will shows the one to change, zero to destroy, zero to add. Okay. So once we applied, we applied this, uh, so apply complete resources, zero added, one changed, and zero destroyed. Okay. So this is the destroy. Destroy is nothing but a minus, red symbol in the minus. It everything will be whatever we created, right? Everything will be null. Everything will be null while doing the destroying. The subnets, IP addresses, DNS, public IP, T29, ID, and so this is the instance ID. So created. So this is the Terraform state file. Your Terraform states file will be. So this is your Terraform state file. Okay. Yeah. So what we are trying to add now, yeah. So AWS instance web one. So because of yesterday we deleted everything. Yesterday we destroyed everything. That's the reason it is trying to create. Because why it is trying to create in our main file, what it is resources AWS underscore instance. First we need to create the AWS instance. Then we can create the VPC. Then we can create the subnet. Then we can create the security groups. How many? We are trying to create how many resources? Four resources. AWS underscore instance is one, AWS underscore VPC is two, AWS underscore subnet is three, AWS underscore security underscore group. So these four resources we are adding into the AWS. You see. So resource AWS underscore instance, security group, subnet, VPC. Right? How many? We have a four. Four to add, zero to change, zero to destroy. So while executing the Terraform plan, it will show the blueprint of your infra. So what are the action item will be created? What are the resources will be created? It will just showing. It's like a dry run, guys. It looks like a dry run. I want to apply this. I want to apply. Okay. So first you need to connect with the AWS, guys. AWS and aws.amazon.com, guys, slash console. Sign into console. Yeah, I logged in as a root user. The root user BlueJTech containing at gmail.com. Next, password. So MFA. What is the MFA? 073 857. Guys, so which region we selected? So we selected the region. Region is US East 1. So let's see in the US East 1 how many instances are created. The stopper state, right? Docker volley. Okay. So, so there is no instances running. So let's try to create a infra, or else I will terminate this one also. Okay. Nothing is there. So now let's try to apply.
1 minute బ్రో,
Enter.
1 minute అప్లై చేశారా?
చెప్పు.
అక్కడ ఈ లాక్ ఫైల్ అవన్నీ తీసేయమని అడుగుదాం అనుకున్నాను. అంటే ఫ్రెష్ ఎలా ఉందో అలా రన్ చేస్తే ఏమేమి క్రియేట్ అవుతుందో చూద్దాం అనుకున్నాను.
తీసేది ఇంకా అవ్వలేదులే. అప్లైకి ఎస్ఆర్ నో అని అడిగిద్ది. సో ఎన్ పెట్టమనుకో, నో పెట్టమనుకో. సో అప్లై క్యాన్సిల్డ్. ఓకే. యూ వాంట్ టు delete everything, right? Terraform, delete, delete. So ఇవి కూడా delete చేస్తాను. Okay. Go to recycle bin. So I'm deleting this one also. ఇప్పుడు జస్ట్ నువ్వు రాసిన కోడ్ ఉంది ఇక్కడ, అవునా?
వర్షం కూడా మనమే రాయాలా? ఏ వర్షన్ తీసుకోవాలి అన్నారు.
వర్షన్ ఏ వర్షన్ తీసుకోవాలి? ఇది ప్రొవైడర్ వర్షన్.
ఓకే ఓకే
ఓకే. అండ్ టెరాఫామ్ వర్షన్.
ఓకే.
సో ఇక్కడ ఆల్రెడీ ఇచ్చాం కదా, ఇక్కడ ఆల్రెడీ చూసావు కదా. సో రిజిస్ట్రీ డాట్ టెరాఫామ్ ఐఓ. సో దిస్ ఈస్ ద ప్రొవైడర్ వర్షన్. ఓకే.
AWS ప్రొవైడర్ వర్షన్.
సో ఇక్కడ టెరాఫామ్ వర్షన్ కూడా ఇవ్వాలి అనుకుంటే యూ కెన్ గివ్ ఇట్ ఎ టెరాఫామ్ వర్షన్ లైక్ దట్. రిక్వైర్డ్ వర్షన్ ఈక్వల్ టు టెరాఫామ్ greater than 1.0. So this is related to Terraform. This required providers are AWS. This is related to
అంటే
AWS.
అది ఆప్షనల్ టెరాఫామ్ వర్షన్ అనేది ఆప్షనల్.
Optional. Okay. So నువ్వు క్రియేట్ చేసావు main.tf, output.tf, provider variable, versions.tf. Okay. This is your stack. Now you are trying to build your dev stack or something like this is the dev stack. Okay. Understood? So this is your dev stack. You are trying to create the stack. Now, first time, so what it will create, you see. First time we need to initialize the Terraform init because of how you can authenticate with the AWS. We need to install the plugin and you can communicate with the plugin through access key and secret key. Okay. So Terraform init, it is initializing, you see, initializing the backend installation provider plugin, the provider plugin, finding the HashiCorp AWS versions matching 5.9.0, installing the HashiCorp AWS 5.5.0. So once it is installed, you see a Terraform folder will be created. Desktop. What this is? This is Terraform AWS 55. Here you see, guys. ఇది కాదు. Yes, so what folder we created? Batch. This one, huh? This one, not this. AWS with DevOps batch 55. Yeah, this is the one. AWS with DevOps batch 55. So you see, you created main outputs provider variables versions. Right. Still it is initializing. So once it is initializing, a default folder will be created. That folder is .terraform. What happened? Yeah. You see, .terraform file is created. I will show you in here. A .terraform file is created in the provider. Provider registered at terraform.io, HashiCorp, AWS 5.9.0, Windows. This is the Windows for the Windows plugin. It will be installed for this Windows plugin. Have you understood? Yeah, very good. So installation is completed. So installation, if you want to modify number of time, don't need to initialize. It's just one time is enough for to initialization. So initialization is nothing but how we can communicate with this AWS. Okay. Next, what is that? Terraform plan. So Terraform plan is nothing but a blueprint. It's a blueprint. So what we will adding, you can check it. So these are we are trying to adding. So the next Terraform apply. So while doing the apply, it will asking yes or no. It will asking the yes or no. If you want to apply it or not. So enter as value. Yeah, you see guys. So what is that VPC is creating? What is that? VPC refreshing. You see guys, a instance is creating and VPC also, right? VPC. If you click the VPC, guys, you don't know the VPC, right? We'll tell you no worries. We'll tell you no worries. VPC, your VPs. Subnets, security group, right? Security groups. Yes, guys. LOSSH security group is created. So in this security group, we added the only 22 port for this inbound. Outbound, we added the all traffic, all traffic. If you want to add all traffic for the EC2 instance also, you can create it. Okay. Let's try to, yeah. What is the details? So whatever these details, right? That details will be created under the, you see guys. So AWS VPC, my VPC is creating. AWS instance web1 is creating. AWS and underscore VPC, my VPC is creation. Creation completes after 5 seconds. After 5 seconds, it will be created. What is the ID of this? Is the IB, 2D88. What is that, guys? 2D88. Yeah, you see, guys. So 2D88 is created. 2D, I think we need to give the tag here. Okay. Yeah. So 2D 8A is created. In the 2D 8A, which subnet is created? Subnet is created with UC guys. So IDER equal to 16. In the subnet, one subnet is association with this cider blocks. Yeah, 16 is created. Yeah, let's see guys. Let's see. This is the instance. So how you can connect this instance? You can connect this instance through Web Connect also. So we can connect this instance. Fail to connect your instance. If instance connect is unable to connect your instance, ensure your instance network settings configured by correctly for EC2 instance. Connect. For more information, see EC2 instance. Okay, maybe yes. So, LSSH, we will provide you outputs, provider, variables, main.tf. I will give you the same to the ingress also. 0, 0, -1 is nothing but all guys. Just I'm changing it, right? Changing it to all. Yeah, what is that, guys? So one to change. Where we are changing? So we are changing ingest rule from TCP 22 to so all. Okay, yellow, all access. Yes, apply is completed. Let's check it in the VPC Mars. So what is that? Security group. You see, guys, here all is added. All is added. So we'll see the DPs. So this is the default VPC and this is the subnet. VPC 172.31.0016 subnet 172. Let's see, guys. Think still it is blocking because of here we provided 172. Here we provided the 162 subnet. The default one attached subnet ID. Yeah, guys, I will tell you, no worries. Okay, so now you understood. So in the variables, you already defined the variable about AWS region. You are providing the D region. IAM ID, you provided the IAM ID. Instance type, you provided the instance type. Variable tag name, you provided the Terraform. Right? This is the variable declaration. So now you understood the version declaration, variable declaration, provider declaration, output. So you guys, so what output you want to ask? Instance ID and instance IP address. So what is the instance ID? The instance ID is, this is the instance ID. Here you will get, it will display in the unchanged attribution hidden. In the Terraform, so it is creating as the ID of the VPC, the ID of the instance, ID of the VPC, and the ID of the security group, guys. Yes, understood? But we defined in the only ID Terraform apply outputs instance ID, instance IP address. Output instance ID value equal to AWS underscore instance dot web one dot ID value equal to AWS underscore instance dot web one dot public IP. So outputs dot TF. Yeah, outputs dot TF only, right? Hey guys, so we'll get it this ID, but I don't know exactly why it is not coming. So while applying, right, it will display the something like the IP address and the ID in the output. So apply completed, right? Here we need to see the IP address and the yeah. Guys, understood? Sadish understood? Terraform
Yes.
state created.
మీరు
Yeah. So what is the task, right, guys? So if we apply the Terraform destroy, so it will automatically destroy it. One second. I will create another EC2 instance here. So for example, here we need to provide the count equal to 2. It will create a count, or else we want to create another one, call it as a web. So another resource called as a web 2, guys. So what is that? So another resource is called as a web 2, right? So you are creating a another resource called as a web 2. If you apply that directly, it will create the another instances. So if I use the destroy command, it will destroy everything. So I don't want to destroy everything. I want to destroy particular resource. So how you can execute that Terraform destroy, right? So Terraform destroy is nothing but a, so we can destroy, if you use the Terraform destroy, so it will automatically destroy the everything. It will automatically destroy everything. So instances, 1 second. Yeah. You see, so web 1 and web 2, web 1 and web 2 is created. Web 2 is created. I don't want to deploy, I want to destroy everything. I want to destroy only a web 2 EC2 instance. So if you execute the Terraform destroy, so if you execute the Terraform destroy, sorry guys, Terraform destroy. So if you execute the Terraform destroy, it will destroy everything, right? It will destroy everything.
Everything in the main.tf.
Whatever the main.tf, right? It will destroy everything. You see, how many you are destroying? 5. What is that? VPC, subnet, security group, EC2 instances. How many EC2 instances? One is web 2, another one is web 1, right? I don't want to destroy entire stack. I want to destroy a particular resource. I want to destroy a particular resource. If you want to destroy a particular resource, you can use the command like so Terraform destroy means it will destroy everything. I don't want to destroy everything. I want to just destroy a something like resource. Resource is nothing but a web 2. I want to destroy only web 2 resource in the stack. So how you can, so if you execute the Terraform destroy, the entire stack will be destroying. The entire stack will be destroying, right? I don't want to destroy entire thing. I want to destroy only the particular instance. So what is the command? Hyphen target. What is that, guys? What is the option, guys? Option is right, target, hyphen target. So how you can destroy your the syntax? What is the syntax? Terraform destroy hyphen target equal to resource addresses. So what is the resource address, guys? The resource address is you will see here. Which one we want to destroy, guys? Which one we want to destroy? We want to destroy a web 2, right? Resource dot resource name. Resource dot resource name. What is the resource? Resource AWS Instant and the resource name. Resource dot resource name. If you use that, what is that? Terraform destroy hyphen target equal to resource dot your instance name. Resource dot your instance name. It will create the So it will delete the only AWS underscore instance web2. Let's see, guys. Hyphen target equal to AWS underscore hyphen AWS underscore instance dot web2. Yeah, you see, guys. So how many resources will be destroying, guys? How many resources will be destroying? Only one resource, that is web2 is destroying. So let's execute this. Apply yes. See, guys, shutting down, then terminating. Guys, understood? So modules, guys, what is that? Modules in the Terraform. The module is nothing but a skeleton. What is that? Module is nothing but a skeleton. In this module, so something like what you created, we created a main.tf. In the modules, so what you created, variables.tf and output start.tf. So these all are the your modules. So what is that module? A module is called something like modules. So this is the module directory. In the module directory, so what you so the module call it as a module call it as a EC2 instance. This is the skeleton EC2 underscore instance. So in our modules, so the modules default VPC default, you created the modules. And while building the infra, so we can call the modules. We don't need to write again. We don't need to write again in the EC2 instance. You don't need to write to create the EC2 instance. So what is a Terraform module? Something like modules. Terraform modules are one of the most powerful features that allow you to organize and reuse the code. So reuse the code efficiently. A module is a basically a container of a multiple resources that are used together. So right. So for example, this is the a skeleton, or this is a skeleton created. Used this skeleton while creating the stacks. Used this skeleton to creating the stacks. So what is the use of modules, guys? What is the use of Terraform modules? A module is any set of Terraform configuration files in the folder. You can create in our old module. Also, you can use the Terraform registry. Also provides the a module. So mostly we are using only the user-defined modules only. So why to use the modules, guys? Why to use the modules? So that reusability, use the same modules across the environment. For example, if you create the module, right? So this module will use the dev environment, QA environment, production environment, right? So if you use the reusability, for the reusability purpose, we are creating the modules. And organization keep code cleaner and easier to manage. To manage, so to manage the keep clear, here and on, guys. So how we can call it as in the resources, something like so we can call it as a module, guys. So we can call it as a module. Guys, understood? So Terraform destroy to particular resource, Terraform state file, Terraform stack. Guys, understood, right?
Yes, bro.
Guys, speak out,
Yeah,
guys.
yes, bro. State file contains all the information about the resources which are created, right?
Your voice is very low. Let's see.
Now,
Ah,
no,
okay.
Terraform state file means Terraform state file contains information about the resources which are created.
Yes, sir.
So
టెరాఫార్మ్
if you
స్టేట్
run, yeah,
కంటైన్స్ ద విచ్ ఆర్ రిసోర్స్ యొక్క ప్రతిదీ కూడా దీంట్లో ఉంటదన్నమాట.
ఏదైతే క్రియేట్
విపిసిలు
చేయబడిందో, ఏదైతే టెరాఫామ్
క్రియేట్
మెయిన్ డాట్ టీఎఫ్ తో క్రియేట్ చేయబడిందో, ఆ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ మొత్తం స్టేట్ ఫైల్ లో ఉంటుందా?
డాట్ ఫైల్ స్టేట్ ఫైల్ లో ఉంటుంది. టెరాఫార్మ్ స్టేట్
ఇప్పుడు
ఫైల్
అదే
ఈ
స్టేట్ ఫైల్
ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్
నేమ్.
అనుకో, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఈ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ మొత్తం వాట్ ఎవర్ ద ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ వీఆర్ సీయింగ్ హియర్, రైట్? ద ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ విల్ బి వాట్ ఎవర్ ద ఆల్ ద డీటెయిల్స్ విల్ బి లొకేటెడ్ ఇన్ ద టెరాఫార్మ్ స్టేట్. ఎందుకు
ఓకే.
టెరాఫార్మ్ స్టేట్ తీసేసాం అనుకో మళ్ళీ ఏమవుతుంది? టెరాఫార్మ్ అప్లై అనగానే మెయిన్ డాట్ టీఎఫ్ లో ఏదైతే ఉన్నాయో అవి క్రియేట్ అవుతాయి. అంటే ఎన్నిసార్లు క్రియేట్ అవుతాయి?
ఆల్రెడీ ఉన్న ఆల్రెడీ ఉంటే ఎగ్జిస్టింగ్ అని వస్తుంది కదా.
దీన్ని బేస్ చేసుకుని అది టెరాఫార్మ్ అనేది క్రియేట్ అవుతుంది.
ఓకే, ఓకే. సో మళ్ళీ క్రియేట్ అవుద్ది అవి.
మళ్ళీ క్రియేట్
క్రియేట్
అవుతాయి.
అవుతాయి.
మళ్ళీ డిలీట్ చేసిన తర్వాత మళ్ళీ క్రియేట్ అవుతాయి.
ఇప్పుడు డిస్ట్రాయ్ చేయకుండా నేను ఏం
ఉమ్.
చేశానంటే డిస్ట్రాయ్ చేయలేదు. అచ్చా, మళ్ళీ రీరన్ సేమ్ అప్లై అవుతాయి మళ్ళీ.
మళ్ళీ అప్లై అవుతాయి. ఎందుకు?
మళ్ళీ
టెరాఫార్మ్ కి తెలియదు కదా నువ్వు ఆల్రెడీ క్రియేట్ చేసావు అని.
స్టేట్ ఫైల్లో ఏది ఉందో అదే మెయింటైన్ చేస్తుంది అనమాట.
మెయింటైన్ చేస్తుంది టెరాఫార్మ్.
రిఫ్రెష్ చేస్తే అక్కడ కూడా రిఫ్రెష్ అయిపోద్ది.
రిఫ్రెష్ అయిపోతుంది. అదే ఇక్కడ
ఇంకొకటి.
ఈ టెరాఫార్మ్ డిలీట్ అయిపోయింది అనుకోండి స్టేట్ ఫైల్,
ఓకే.
ఏమవుతుంది? కీప్ ఆన్ క్రియేటింగ్, కీప్ ఆన్ క్రియేటింగ్, కీప్ ఆన్ క్రియేటింగ్. ఎందుకు? అక్కడికి వెళ్ళి చూస్తుంది టెరాఫార్మ్ స్టేట్ ఫైల్ ఉందా. ఒకవేళ స్టేట్ ఫైల్ అంటే ఏమేమి క్రియేట్ అయి ఉన్నాయి, ఒకవేళ ఏమేమి క్రియేట్ ఉన్నాయి అక్కడ క్రియేట్ అయి ఉంటే ఆల్రెడీ క్రియేటెడ్ అని వచ్చింది.
టెరాఫామ్ స్టేట్ ఫైల్ లేదనుకోండి, లేకపోతే
ఉమ్,
ఇప్పుడు ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ మీరు క్రియేట్ చేశారు, టెరాఫామ్
ఉమ్,
స్టేట్ ఫైల్ లేకపోతే
ఉమ్.
అక్కడ ఏమున్నాయో టెరాఫామ్ తెలియదు, కన్సోల్లో
తెలీదు,
ఏమున్నాయో తెలియదు.
తెలీదు,
మళ్ళీ
తెలీదు.
మీరు మెయిన్ డాట్ టీఎఫ్ రన్ చేస్తే మళ్ళీ కొత్తగా ఆల్రెడీ
మొత్తం క్రియేట్ అవుతుంది, మళ్ళీ
క్రియేట్ అవుతుంది.
ఇన్స్టెన్సెస్ క్రియేట్ అవుతాయి.
ఏదైనా చేంజెస్ చేస్తే కూడా చేంజెస్ అప్లై అవుతాయి, క్రియేట్ అవుతాయి.
ఉమ్,
ఇప్పుడు అదే నేను మెయిన్ డాట్ టీఎఫ్, అవుట్పుట్ డాట్ టీఎఫ్, ప్రొవైడర్ డాట్ టీఎఫ్ ఇవి నేను తీసుకెళ్ళి ఇవి నేను
ఉమ్,
ఎస్3 కానీ ఎక్కడో ఒక షేర్ లొకేషన్ లో పెట్టి అది నేను మళ్ళీ యాక్సెస్ కి సీక్రెట్ కి చేంజెస్ రన్ చేశాను అనుకోండి, ఇవే సేమ్
ఉమ్.
వేరే ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్ క్రియేట్ అవుతాయి కదా.
వేరే
అదే
ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్
కాన్సెప్ట్.
లో
ఇప్పుడు ఫర్
నువ్వు
ఎగ్జాంపుల్
ఇక్కడ
ఇప్పుడు మీరు
ఇచ్చే
మీరు డెవలప్మెంట్ అనుకుందాం మీరు చేసింది ఇప్పుడు డెవలప్మెంట్ లో, నేను ఇదే
ఉమ్,
రెడీనెస్ లో చేద్దాం అనుకున్నాను. సేమ్ ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ నేను ఏమేమి కాపీ చేయాలి, స్టేట్ ఫైల్ ఒకటేనా లేకపోతే ప్రొవైడర్ ఇవన్నీ కాపీ చేయాలి కదా, మెయిన్ డాట్ టిఎఫ్, స్టేట్ డాట్ టిఎఫ్, ప్రొవైడర్ డాట్ టిఎఫ్.
ఎవ్రీ స్టాక్ హ్యావింగ్ దేర్ ఓన్ స్టేట్ ఫైల్. ఓకేనా? సో నువ్వు రీయూజబిలిటీ చేసుకునే ఏంటంటే మెయిన్ డాట్ అవుట్పుట్ ప్రొవైడర్స్ వేరియబుల్స్. ఇంకా సో నీ ఇది ఏదైతే ఉందో ఈ ఫైల్స్ మెయిన్ డాట్ టిఎఫ్, అవుట్పుట్ డాట్ ప్రొవైడర్
స్టాక్ అవసరం లేదు,
వేరియబుల్స్ వర్షన్స్
స్టేట్ ఫైల్
మే
అవసరం లేదు
మైట్
ఎక్కడన్నా.
బి చేంజ్ ద
ఓకే.
మెయిన్ డాట్ టిఎఫ్ అండ్ వేరియబుల్ డాట్ టిఎఫ్. ఇక్కడ నువ్వేదో ఇద్దాం అనుకుంటున్నావు, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ విపిసి, డిఫరెంట్ విపిసి ఇద్దాం అనుకున్నావు,
అవును.
డిఫరెంట్ సబ్నెట్ ఇద్దాం అనుకున్నావు. సో దిస్ విల్ బి చేంజింగ్. సో రీయూజబిలిటీ అనేది, సో ఈ మొత్తం రీయూజబిలిటీ అవుతుంది. జస్ట్ యు ఆర్ కీప్ చేంజింగ్ సంథింగ్
ఇలా కూడా
వాట్ యు
చేయొచ్చు.
వాంట్ ఆన్ ద స్టాక్.
అప్పుడు మనం ఏం చేయాలంటే ఆ వేరియబుల్ లో విపిసి, మనం ఇక్కడ మీరు ఇచ్చారు కదా మెయిన్ డాట్ టిఎఫ్ లో విపిసి అడ్రస్ ఇచ్చారు కదా,
అవునవును.
విపిసి అడ్రస్ అలా ఇవ్వకుండా వేరియబుల్ డాట్ టిఎఫ్ లో ఆ విపిసిని
ఇవ్వచ్చు, ఇవ్వచ్చు, ఇవ్వచ్చు. వేరియబుల్స్
ఇస్తే
డిక్లేర్
డైరెక్ట్ గా
నేను ఇక్కడ డిక్లేర్ చేశాను.
ఇంకా మెయిన్
అంటే
డాట్ టిఎఫ్
ఒకేసారి
ముట్టుకోవాల్సిన
మొత్తం
అవసరం లేదు.
చెప్తే ఇక్కడ కన్ఫ్యూజ్ అవుతారని
అవునవును,
నేను ఇక్కడ
కరెక్ట్ కరెక్ట్. అర్థమైంది,
బోత్
యా.
ఇక్కడ రెండు డిఫైన్ చేశాను.
ఓకే, ఓకే,
అదే ఇక్కడ
ఓకే.
చూస్తే ఇది ఇక్కడ ఓన్లీ మొత్తం నేను వేరియబుల్స్ లో పెట్టాను నా వాల్యూస్ మొత్తం. సో అయితే వాల్యూస్ వేరియబుల్స్ లో పెట్టొచ్చు, మెయిన్ డాట్ టిఎఫ్ లో కూడా పెట్టుకోవచ్చు.
మెయిన్ డాట్ టిఎఫ్ లో పెడితే డైరెక్ట్ గా, వేరియబుల్స్ డాట్
సో
టిఎఫ్ లో పెడితే
సో
చేంజ్
యా
చేసేసుకోవచ్చు.
హార్డ్ కోడెడ్
అవును.
కాకుండా ఐ వాంట్ గివ్ ఇట్ యాజ్ ఎ వాల్యూ. సో నాకు టాస్క్ ఏంటంటే, సో జస్ట్ నాకు ఒక ఈసీ2 ఇన్స్టెన్స్ క్రియేట్ చేయండి. ఈసీ2 ఇన్స్టెన్స్ క్రియేట్ చేయండి. ఒక ఎల్బి క్రియేట్ చేయండి, లోడ్ బ్యాలెన్సర్ టార్గెట్ గ్రూప్ క్రియేట్ చేసి దానికి అటాచ్ చేయండి. దట్ ఈస్ ద టాస్క్ ఫర్ యూ గైస్. ఓకే.
యా,
అండ్ వీ హ్యావ్ ఎ టూ టాస్క్ గైస్. వన్ టాస్క్ ఈస్ లాస్ట్ టైం అటాచ్ చేయమని చెప్పాను కదా ఒక వాల్యూమ్ 8 జీబీని. సో టాస్క్ ఏంటి? టాస్క్ 1, అటాచ్ వాల్యూమ్ 10 GB or 8 GB టు ద ఇన్స్టెన్స్. ఒక ఇన్స్టెన్స్ క్రియేట్ చేసి ఆ ఇన్స్టెన్స్ కి వాల్యూమ్ అటాచ్ చేసి దానికి మౌంట్ చేసి సో ఆ మౌంట్ నాకు ఏమి ఉండాలంటే యాప్ లాక్స్ ఉండాలి. ఏముండాలి? నాకు స్లాష్ యాప్ లాక్స్ కి మౌంట్ చేయాలి. దిస్ ఇస్ వన్ టాస్క్. ద అదర్ టాస్క్ ఈస్ task 2 is create a two instances and one ELB, and create the target group and attach it to that ELB. Okay, TG target group and install Apache HTTPD and uh, deploy as something like index.html. What is index.html? Welcome to BlueJet Technology. ఓకే. సో, నాకు బ్రౌజర్‌లో ఇది క్లిక్ చేస్తే ద ఈఎల్‌బీ ఎలాస్టిక్ లోడ్ బాలన్సర్ డీఎన్ఎస్ క్లిక్ చేస్తే నాకు వెల్కమ్ టు బ్లూజెట్ టెక్నాలజీస్ అని రావాలి. ఓకే గైస్. సో, దీస్ ఆర్ ద 2 టాస్క్స్ గైస్. యూ కెన్ క్రియేట్ దీస్ 2 టాస్క్స్. ఓకే. గైస్ అండర్‌స్టూడా?
ఓకే బ్రో.
హ్మ్.
Yeah.
హ్మ్. ఓకే. థాంక్ యూ.